Loud booms, cracks, pops. The sound of fireworks and firecrackers going off in the streets, followed by the sounds of booming music on the backs of these great big bongo trucks that were driving along the roads. There was a parade going on, unbeknownst to me and my daughter Audrey, as we were going down to get some food for lunch. So it really caught us off guard. We weren't sure what exactly was going on. There was the sound of music and the people kind of dancing through the streets as they're wearing their dragon head costumes and just really decorated and lots of colors. It was a lot of fun, but really caught us off guard. We weren't expecting that. As we were just going down to get some food, we were hungry. So this is one of the things that happens during Chinese New Year or Lunar New Year celebration. The purpose of this speech is to inform you a little bit about the Chinese or Lunar New Year, what it is, when it is, what the Chinese zodiac is and how that plays into the Chinese New Year, and some of the traditions that go along with that. This will be good information for you to know if you're planning a trip to Taiwan, or maybe you get called to be a missionary abroad, either in China or here in Taiwan or even in Hong Kong. You will definitely see these celebrations. And if you're visiting, you would have to visit during this time of the year. So for the new year, History.com mentions the ancient Chinese lunar calendar. And I apologize for my daughter in the background, Audrey. She's, like I said, she's very vocal, like her dad. So as I said, the History.com mentions the ancient Chinese lunar calendar, on which Chinese New Year is based, functioned as a religious, dynastic, and social guide. Oracle bones inscribed with astronomical records indicate that the calendar existed as early as 14th century BC, when the Shang dynasty was in power. TimeAndDate.com states the Chinese New Year celebrations, also known as the Spring Festival, in China started on the 23rd day of the 12th lunar month of the Chinese calendar. The festival lasts for about 23 days, ending on the 15th day of the first lunar month in the following year in the Chinese calendar. Here in Taiwan, the actual Chinese New Year was February 26th and ending on the 28th. So now that we've established what the Chinese New Year is, we will talk about the Chinese zodiac, what the Chinese zodiac is and how that plays into the new year. Kelly from ChinaHighlights.com, she didn't have a last name reference there. I tried to find it, but I'm not sure what it is. But this was written in 2018, this year. So she says the Chinese animal zodiac, or Xing Xiao, is called born resembling, is a repeating cycle of 12 years, with each year being represented by an animal and its reputed attributes. Traditionally, these zodiac animals were used to date the years. So listed in order, each animal is the rat, the ox, the tiger, the rabbit, the dragon, which according to their calendar and their zodiac, that would be the year that I was born, 1988. Then you have the snake, the horse, the goat, the monkey, the rooster, the dog, and then the pig. And so this year, the year of 2018, is the year of the dog. And they're very superstitious with the zodiac and here in Taiwan, China, and Hong Kong. They're very superstitious people, so they will consult their calendars, and each animal has specific attributes that relate to supposedly to each person. So if you're born, let's say in this year, the year of the dog has specific attributes that would be associated to a person's character, and they will even consult these calendars and their attributes to make life decisions, whether it's to get married or to seek a job, or to go on a trip, to go flying somewhere. If it doesn't line up good for them per se, then they won't do it. That's just part of the superstition that comes along with the zodiac. So now that we've talked about what the Chinese New Year is, when it is, and the zodiac, let's talk about some of the traditions that go along with the Chinese New Year. And the first thing you'll notice if you're traveling abroad is the large amount of people. There are people everywhere. Since this is their biggest holiday and celebration, and they give their employees and people all over usually about a week or so off from work, or if not more time, to travel and to be with family, because this is a very important holiday, and they're very family oriented. Family is a big part of the tradition. So one of the things that you will notice is very large groups of people migrating all over the place to be with family for the New Year celebration. C. Quackenbush from this year, 2018, from TimeMagazine.com mentioned, during this time, the world's largest human migration will take place as hundreds of millions of Chinese people make their way home to celebrate with family. As I mentioned, they're very family oriented, and it's very cool to see. You don't see a lot of that in the States anymore. People aren't very family oriented anymore. You hardly see or hear about family reunions, but that's one of the things that's really cool about the New Year's celebration here in Taiwan and China and Hong Kong. Another tradition that you'll see is red envelopes. The red envelopes is usually passed down from the grandparents or parents to their children, and it's usually considered lucky money. They have money in them, and when a child receives the lucky money from their grandparents or their parents, it's supposed to kind of signify. And again, this is superstitious, but it's to ensure that they have a good New Year, a safe and sound New Year with this lucky money. And some of the other things you will see is friends kind of not really passing red envelopes, but passing just gifts to each other. And my favorite tradition is the food. The food here is spectacular. They have all different types, and it's just very, very good. A traditional dish, or well, it's actually a rice cake that you will find during the Chinese New Year time is called Nian Gao. It's a sticky rice cake, and it's actually pretty good. But this is my favorite tradition by far. Is definitely the food. So we talked about the Chinese New Year, what that is, when it is, the Chinese zodiac and how that plays a part into the Chinese New Year, and some of the traditions that go along with that. And this might be relevant to you, and I hope it was informative if you do decide to travel to Taiwan or China or Hong Kong during this time of the year, during the New Year celebration, or maybe you even get called to be a missionary to be here abroad. You will definitely encounter some of these traditions, and I hope this video was informative and helpful. So thank you very much, and have a blessed rest of your day.